You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
The Mueller report is scheduled to drop, and when it does, of the 400 or so pages of the Mueller report, well, what's going to be in it? How much is going to be redacted? How much is going to be 6E? That is a grand jury testimony, and whether or not there's going to be a big struggle between Gerald Nadler, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and Adam Schiff, chairman of the Intelligence Committee, as to whether or not they're going to get the full report. And they deserve the full report. The American people deserves at least if they're a congressperson who can handle sensitive information, that nothing should be redacted. And all reports have always been given completely, not to the public, but to persons within Congress. So why is it now that Trump's report is going to be redacted and not given completely and wholly over to the Judiciary Committee and also to the Intelligence Committee? We'll see how far that goes. But let me just back up for just a second. I think that I stated that, the report's going to drop. I'm betting my last money that Trump is going to commit suicide before the 2020 election. I'm betting my last money he's going to do it. He's showing signs of strain now. He may commit suicide before the end of this year, depending on how much of the Mueller report is released and how intense they can go into his businesses. But let me wait for that for just a second. We're going to come back to that segment about dropping of the Mueller report. But let me say this, Tribulation Trump, Donald J. Trump, never wanted to be president. The last thing he ever wanted on planet Earth, the very last thing he ever wanted on planet Earth was to be the president of the United States of America. That's the last thing he wanted. And it's the last thing he wants now. What Tribulation Trump wanted to do was to build his brand. Trump is about the name Trump, and all of us are under the same mesmerized power that Trump was able to, for many, many years, use the name Trump. And when we saw it, we thought of opulence, we thought of wealth, we thought of power, we thought of kingship, we thought of privilege. Where we saw Trump, whether it was on his helicopter or if we're driving down the West Side Highway or on one of his planes flying in someplace or a golf course or one of the buildings, all the buildings around New York and around America and the world, the name Trump. And many of them he didn't even own, didn't have anything to do with building them. They just bought his name, Trump. And that's all Trump wanted to do in the process of the running for president, was to build his brand, because it really is a great brand building event. We got nearly 17 people now in the Democratic, if you will, primary people running for president who don't plan to be president. They just want to get their name out there. They just want to build their brand, build their name, become known nationwide. They're not looking to be president. That's the last thing right now that they ever think will possibly or potentially could happen to them. But it's a great brand. Al Sharpton ran for president. Al Sharpton was going to never be president. He just wanted to build his brand. And it's the best brand building process for a politician on planet Earth to run for president. And that's all Trump wanted to do. He never wanted to be. He was as stunned and shocked when he became president as anybody stunned or shocked can be. He never wanted to be president. He never wanted to be, and especially didn't want to be president of the people that were voting for him. If Trump were to be president or ever to want to be president, he wanted to be president of the Hollywood type. Trump would want to be, for his support system to come from the New York Times, Wall Street, Hollywood, the intelligentsia, the elite, the wealthy. If Trump didn't want to be president of a bunch of rednecks and coal mining country in West Virginia, you got to be out your mind to think Trump want to have anything to do with that crowd. Trump didn't want to be the president of people from Arkansas. He didn't want to be the president of a bunch of people barefoot and uneducated. That's the last thing Trump wanted to be, the leader. What do you think Trump is, Moses or somebody? Who do you think Trump is? Some sort of he didn't want to be the president of all these rednecks, tobacco chewing, snuff dipping, if you will, the handkerchief head. He didn't want to be president of these people. And moreover, he didn't want to be president of anybody for that matter. But if he's going to be president, he would want to be the president of the, Beverly Hills, of rich white Hollywood people. People with status. The people that show up at his rally with T-shirts on, balled up fists, half of them barefoot, many of them snag a tooth. You never see Trump go out in the audience and deal with any of them. You don't want to be president. Trump don't want to be bothered with these people. You got to be out your mind. And Trump want to be bothered. He never bothered them all the days of his life. Anyway, so here, let me give you some other reason. Trump didn't want to be president because he understands this. First of all, he can make more money simply by getting out there and running for in the primary. And even when he won the nomination, he still didn't expect to be president. He just didn't. That's the last thing on anybody in Trump's campaign mind, or last thing on anybody in America's mind. The last thing on anybody in America's mind was that Trump was going to be president. Everybody just knew it was in the bag with Jezebel Clinton. And for the most part, what he was doing with Jezebel and WikiLeaks and all those kinds of things was just, it was just drama. That's all. Trump would, if Jezebel had won the election, Trump would have probably walked over and kissed her and shined Bill Clinton's shoes. Trump didn't want to be president. I mean, why should he? He's the president of Trump. And he can make more money. He can still do his cocaine. He can have all his women. Why you want to be president, have somebody watching you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can't go nowhere, can't drive a car. Trump didn't want that. They're not telling him what to do, what phone you can use, what telephone you can use, who you can talk to, who you can't talk to. Trump didn't want that. Moreover, he didn't want anybody looking into his life, going through his records like they want to do now. Trump's a dirty boy. Everybody knows Trump's a dirty boy. Trump's got a dirty life. Not that other politicians don't have dirty lives. They all do, but nobody was as dirty as Trump. Trump did not want anybody looking in Melania's background, going over there to Slovakia and asking about her boyfriends and when she was in high school. They didn't want nobody doing all that kind of stuff. That's the last thing Trump wanted, was to be president. But by a fluke, the boy's president. Nobody on planet Earth thought Trump would be president. Even the people that voted for him didn't think he was going to be president. They just didn't want to vote for Jezebel. But they never thought Trump was going to be president. Trump never thought he was going to be president. Nobody thought Trump was going to be president. Trump never wanted to be president. And that's the fact, my friend. That's the truth. So now that he is, how and why did it happen? Because somebody else wanted to be president. Now, the way Southern Baptists and religious and white people have dealt with this that support Trump, they say that God wanted to be president. Well, all right. Okay. We can argue back and forth about that, but can I just move on from there and we'll come back to that later and say, well, maybe Vladimir Putin wanted him to be president. Maybe Joan of Arc, and that's what I'm going to call Vladimir Putin because he's a little girl. Joan of Arc, who we now refer to as Vladimir Putin, wanted Trump to be president and got him in without, and Trump was playing games, didn't realize he'd make it. Trump never thought America was stupid enough to vote for him as president. Trump may think Americans are stupid, but he didn't think that they were that stupid to vote him as president. I mean, Trump said, look at me, why would you want me as president? Why would America want me as president? So maybe it wasn't Trump, maybe it was Joan of Arc who referred to Vladimir Putin, that is president, all right? They wanted him as president. We don't know. Now, the Southern Baptists who don't have God on their side anymore, and also are dying as a result of their cultural idea, and because, this is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.